Hello and welcome to another episode of Primetime Football. We are focusing on a wildcard round, and today we take a look at the Jaguars versus the Bills. My storyline for this game is, it's time, Josh. Is it fair? No. I don't think he has necessarily the best comrade in terms of the offense, but no Patrick, no Lamar, no Joe. This is time for Josh Allen. I think, kind of needs to get into the Super Bowl. Otherwise, there is going to be a lot of voices. I, for once, would be on the side of, I still think Josh is probably the best QB in the league right now. If he shows, as he tends to do in the playoffs, and they will be let down by the defense, as tends to happen with the Bills. So I think it's also time for Sean McDermott to put up a defensive playoff performance worth having him as a head coach. Now, on the side of Jaguars, this is kind of a new territory. It's been a while since they've been in playoffs, and they have been quite a beast last couple of weeks. But playoff is a different animal. So how they square against the Bills, let's take a look. In terms of matchups, I'm not actually going to talk about Trevor Lawrence. I will kind of talk about him in substance or in substitution with Jakobi Meyers, because when this trade happened, I was like, I really like Jakobi Meyers. I think he's a great player, but I don't think you are looking at the problem the right way, because I think Trevor Lawrence at that point, the imperfections, the missed throws, it was a lot. But Jakobi Meyers fixed it. Why? Because he gave him sure hands, which means I feel like even Trevor could calm down, be like, let's do what you do. You have tremendous amount of talent. You have a special play caller. I think even trust with Liam Cohen was built. And a lot of the issues that Jaguars had in the early parts of the year was because they were dropping a lot of balls. It's not like it's not happening right now, but with Jacoby, you have a sure head target. And I think that helped Trevor to just gain confidence, to be okay, and know that if he is going to do his part, the offense is most likely not going to let him down. So, special trade, I'm really pissed that I was kind of like, I'm not sure, because I felt like they were getting a great player. I just didn't think he would fix kind of the whole thing. He did. On the other side, Josh Allen. Oh, what to say about this year for Josh? There have been a couple of bad games, but there have also been several where he just put on the cape and became a freaking Superman, like the ending versus the Ravens. What was it against the Patriots? Pretty much they came back against one of the best team in the league despite being 21 down. But they also lost to the Dolphins, so a lot of up and downs. Josh, in terms of playoffs, I think he's amazing. It just tends to happen that there is Patrick Mahomes on the other side who beats him. Not this time. So if Josh delivers his type of performance, it's going to be really hard to just go head to head with him. Problem is, Jaguars defense is quite good, and their offense, I think, can control the possession with run game, as well as just take advantage of Bills defense that tends to not show in the playoffs. Now, let's take a look at other matchups. Devin Lloyd versus Dalton Kincaid. I feel like when you look at the Bills, where they could be successful is definitely the run game. I think the matchup between offensive line of the Bills, which in my eyes is at least top 10, and defensive line of the Jaguars, who talent-wise, I think it's always been there, but this year they actually playing to their potential. Eric Armstead, Trevor Walker, Josh Allen, they are kind of sneakily, perhaps not top 5, but top 12. Yeah, that's going to be a big matchup. And it's going to decide how successful the Bills are going to be running the game. In terms of passing, I don't see them having necessarily vertical weapons to beat Jaguars down the sideline, but the Josh Allen, he is not afraid to sling it in the middle of coverages, in the middle of the defense. That's where Dalton Kincaid operates. After, I would say, disappointing year 2, he's been the vocal point of this offense in terms of passing game. Obviously, in terms of run game, it's been James Cook. And he's going to be facing Devin Lloyd. With Devin, he had a great year. At the same time, it's not like he's perfect. Like, he can give up some yards in coverage, he can definitely give up something in terms of tackling, but he is a game changer. He gets to the ball, he gets to the picks. We obviously remember that one against the Chiefs, but overall he had amazing season. And these two guys could really go head to head, and who wins this matchup, where it's going to be one interception by Devin or several catches by Dalton, could actually decide and be a major factor in this one. So watch this out, this should be good. Now, on the other side of the ball, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence and the pressure they can put up on him. Because, let's face it, I don't necessarily trust the Bills defense. And the thing is, in terms of playmakers, I don't necessarily feel like they can match. So they need to win by pressure, in my eyes. And the problem with that is, I'm not sure they will. Because their defensive line is a bunch of good players. Some of them kind of great or former great, but no one that you would be like, oh my god, we need to scheme against him not wrecking the game. The closest thing to that is probably Joey Bosa, who had rejuvenated his career in a way here with the Bills, but the question is how much ready he is, because they put a lot on his plate this year, which I hope they would not, but he was playing amazing, so I understand that. At the same time, this was why you have signed Joe Bosa, to show up in the playoffs. Is he coming 100% or 80%? I'm not so sure. On the other side, one dot on the great season, or staying on the great season of the Jaguars, is I don't necessarily feel like Walker Little has been improving as much as we would like to. Anton Harrison, I think, steady improvement. I still feel like those are both great young tackles, but not necessarily like Darnell Wrights of the world, where you are certain you have a potential superstar. You might have franchise guys, but not necessarily superstars. And they are going to face a lot of experience. That is Greg Russo, Joey Bosa, Coach McDermott, obviously. Can they handle it? Because in terms of quality, the match slides here slightly towards the Bills, and add an experience, perhaps some false start goals, etc. It can pile on. Can these young tackles withstand the pressure? Because if they can, I think Bills defense is going to struggle. If they don't, I really see how Josh could finally have some of the support from this defense, because they could put a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence. At the end of the day, I find it hard to believe that on neutral or even here, Bills are kind of favorites. It's a close game, but Bills, I think the market is sliding their way, because Jaguars have been clearly a better team this year. At the same time, I freaking love Joshallen in the playoffs, and he is a Superman. So can I confidently say I would bet against him? No. So I really love this wildcard run, because there are several matchups, but it's it really feels like a coin flip, and some of them, actually more of them, is not necessarily huge advantages in terms of matchups. For example, if Chargers meet the Texans, I think Texans, how good those teams were aside, have a huge matchup advantage because of their edge rushers and the 5th and 6th backup tackles of the Chargers. We don't necessarily have these. I think the closest is Eagles versus 49ers, and we will get to talk about it in the next episode. So who am I sliding with? I'm going to give it to Jags. Let me know in the comments what you think.